and he is solving one of life's biggest problems with crab cakes. How many times do you get one and you're like, that's not a crab cake. That's is right. Breading with a little bit of crab, or maybe you get a crab cake and the flavor profile's off because it's just one kind of crab. This is a half-pound crab cake. We don't call it Colossal for nothing.
That's right.
You pick this up and you're like, holy heck, this is one weighty crab cake. Finally, someone has answered my hopes and prayers. I mean, look at the profile of this. Who would have thought one singular crab cake that you can bring home today in a 6-count or 12-count, which saves you $29. These are brand new today, and these actually come from a family right down the road in Maryland.
That's right. The Great Gourmet is owned by Kim Scott, and she's been inspired by the Eastern Shore of Maryland. That's where she's from. And if there's one thing Maryland knows, it's crab cakes. In fact, it's an iconic culinary experience down in Maryland to get crab cakes. So she's taken that inspiration to create this Maryland-style crab cake. And you just said it's a half-pound, and I just want to give some perspective.
Thank you.
Because if you're looking, typically you go to the store and you see one of those 3 to 4 ounce crab cakes. It might be breaded. Look at the difference in the size, but it's not just about the size, it's about the quality. So I'm going to actually break into this because I want you to see. Kim has over 20 years experience with different seafood vendors, really going out on the open market, trying to find the best crab meat she can. And I want to open this up, and you can see how it's just chock full of crab meat. So you have the lump, you have the back fin, you have all those different crab flavors that you mentioned, barely held together with just enough filler and just enough seasoning. And again, we bake these from frozen in a very hot oven. This is a full 8 ounces. So like you said, if you went out to a restaurant and got an 8-ounce crab cake of this quality, it'd probably be a $45 entree.
Oh, and I don't doubt it.
And now you can do this at your home from freezer to the oven.
And I just want to point out something while you're thinking about going out for the holidays, because what this breaks down to, if you get the 12 count, is around $12.50 a crab cake. But remember, they're half a pound. Take a look at my hand, the store-bought crab cake, or maybe the restaurant size that you get. You know what happens when you get fed something like this? I get hangry. I'm still hungry. I'm still wanting more crab. And you know, since it's crab, everybody goes for that first. There's no chance of seconds.
You know, and with the holidays coming up, to me, crab cakes is one of those really special items when you come into the holiday season. And you couldn't find an 8-ounce crab cake out at the seafood market, okay?
No.
There's no half-pound crab cakes. In fact, even in a restaurant, you'd be have a tough time finding it. And look at that. When you put your fork in there, it's just full of crab meat. And again, you said it before, you get layers of flavor because there's a lump meat, there's the back fin, there's the claw. You get all those different flavors kind of coming together, giving you that full layer and texture of flavors.
And that's what I love about great food, is the dimension that you get. Because if you were to go to the store and buy a pound of crab meat, right, it would be lump, it would be claw, it'd be the back fin, and that would only be one dimension of this. But not to mention, really, really expensive. I mean, you probably know what a pound of crab meat costs in your local grocery store. You're getting your choice of 6 or 12, and you don't have to experiment with how much salt, how much parsley, how much garlic. You guys have done all of the work for us, and yet when every single one of your guests breaks into this crab cake, first of all, the way that it opens up, I barely see any spice. All I see are lumps of crab.
Yeah, and you know what I love? See how delicate, when you break into this, how moist that is on the interior. And that's really important because you bake this in a hot oven, okay? And it's gonna get crispy on the outside, but then the inside is so tender and moist. That's because in addition to the classic Maryland seasonings, there's also just a hint of yogurt to give it that moist, just succulent interior. So that's why it's so creamy. So it doesn't taste dry on the inside.
It doesn't.
But the one thing I'll say is crab is a star here, because when you have an ingredient like crab meat, you want that to be the star ingredient, and that's really what shines.
It ships now, or it ships December 5th, which could be for your holiday table, that very special meal before the big day. Maybe it's New Year's Eve for you. The brilliance behind this is you can bring home 6. We've got 4 easy payments, which again allow you to break this up, bring this home more affordably, or if you want to get 12 of, I'll say it again, half-pound crab cakes. Half-pound crab cakes. These aren't like the 1-ounce appetizer sizes. This is a full 8-ounce. You eat it on its own, and all of a sudden you have that happy, oh my gosh, finally I'm full from a crab cake moment, which has not been, in fact, studied nor documented until today. But if you want the shipment right now, the situation with that is we are starting to get very limited. So if we've got fewer than 100 that can ship out right now in the 12, and then in the December shipment for the 12 count, we have 4 dozen, and that's it. And not very many more for our 6 count as well. I encourage you that while we can ship all of our food free to your door or anyone's door, you know, maybe you're spending the holidays away from your home. And you know when somebody says like, oh, I'm spending the holidays, can I bring anything? And they're like, no. I say that all the time, and really I get to the day of and I'm like, I wish I would have told somebody to bring a green bean casserole. Like, I forgot. Show up with the star. Show up with that beautiful accoutrement.
I mean, look at this. Think about that. You don't have to just have this as an entree. It's a full center of the plate entree portion, but to your point, the holiday times are very impromptu or gathering. Throw a couple of these in the oven, and again, you can go right from frozen as they arrive to you into a hot 425-degree oven. Put these out on the table with a couple glasses of wine. You have a great appetizer, something you could cut 2 of these into 4 pieces, and you have 4 beautiful appetizers. You would have 4 4-ounce appetizers if you cut 2 of these.
But you know what? If you were shopping anywhere else or eating anywhere else,
right.
If your knife was good enough, you could cut them up into 8 ounces, and you'd still have the flavor that you were used to. But more importantly, the size of this. I mean, it's so hard to do. These are actually our largest crab cakes on QVC.com, right. And we couldn't bring a lot of these in because when you think about how many ounces of crab cakes, I mean, for the 12 count alone, that's 96 ounces of crab.
It is. So think about 12 8-ounce crab cakes is 6 pounds. So if you just put that in perspective, you just said if you went to the seafood store and tried to buy those ingredients, okay, and make your own crab cake, how much would you spend? But here's Kim's got 20 years experience getting the best seafood, and what I love about it when I talk to her, she's getting the best ingredients off the market, bringing it into their kitchens, making these by hand for QVC.
And yet, if you made them by hand with 96 ounces of crab, it'd be the last time that you did that, because you couldn't explain to your spouse how you spent a car payment on crab, and it was only for one dinner. So here's the deal with our ship dates, and if you want the ship now, we have in the 6 count, we have 200 to go around, and that's it. If you want the 12 count, we have 3 dozen, that's it. If you want the 6 count for the December shipment, we also have fewer than 200 to go around, and then in the 12 count, a dozen.
Uh-oh.
That's it. Dinner for 12 with crab cakes. Let's think about that.
Think about it. So if you pulled these 6 out of the freezer and you had 6 people over, that would be like going to a white tablecloth fine dining seafood restaurant, and you can do it from your freezer to the oven. We've done all the hard work. Kim's taken her 20 years experience, and I love it because crab, like I said, is one of those things you always search for it in the seafood store. This is like going to Maryland, but bringing Maryland to your front door.
I just want to point out, I've been eating a crab cake the entire presentation, and I'm still not done with it. And I've been shoveling it in my mouth. Anybody else see that? Like, that's a lot of crab. A lot of crab. You get brand new today, just in time for the holidays. It ships now, 6 count or 12 count, and also the same goes for December. It's in 51920. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for finally a Courtney and Sharon sized crab cake.
That's right. I hope you saved room for the caramels, though. Oh, she's already dug in.